Recognizes the gentleman from the Super Bowl champion Denver Broncos, Mr. Perlmutter.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. And Chair Yellen, thank you as always for being here today. And I was going to go a little off topic with my first question to say, how about those Broncos? But
way to go.
The chair already beat me to the punch. But I do want to talk about the overall conversation today. And I want to thank you, and I want to thank the Federal Reserve. I want to start with the chart that we have on the board, which is really shows what happened at the end of the Bush administration when we went to 10% unemployment, and under Obama, we're down to less than half of that. Okay, so that's your chart number 2 in your monetary report. And, you know, the Republicans don't want to let the facts get in the way of their rhetoric, because then chart number 4 shows that after some time, and that's on page 5, Chair, wages are beginning to move up after we started getting people back into the job market. Chart 6, oil prices way down. Chart 7, inflation even. Chart 13, wealth to income, disposable income up, quote, a robust 3.5%. Chart 15, household debt service way down. Chart 20, mortgage rates down. Figure 1 on page 37, unemployment down, looking at the long term, and core price inflation even. Those are your charts. Those are the facts. Now, have wages gone up as much as we would like to see? No, but we had to get a lot of people back working. Now we're starting to see them move. So, the chair went through a whole list of economists, because obviously he didn't have a lot of questions. He wanted to list a lot of names. And there were a couple guys there with the Hoover Institute.
Quite a number.
You know, so Herbert Hoover, grand old Republican president who led us into the Great Depression. Not the kind of economy I'd like to see. All right? George Bush. We go from 5% unemployment to 10% unemployment. We lose millions of jobs. Under Barack Obama, back down to 4.9%. In Colorado, we're at 3.5%. So I just want to thank you, and I want to thank the administration for getting this economy back on track. Now, can we do better? You bet. So how would you suggest that we do better? How this economy can get moving so that the folks here can see some real growth in wages, which I think are beginning to appear. But what would you suggest?
So our objective in terms of what we can do is to try to make sure that the picture that you've put up here shows continuing improvement in the labor market. I agree with you. I'd say the signs of wage growth increasing, they're tentative at this point. There are some hopeful signs, but I think if the labor market continues to progress, we are very hopeful we will see faster progress on wages. And we'll try to keep that progress going. That's our objective. Inflation is running under our 2% objective. I expect that will move up over time as well with appropriate policy. But I appreciate your saying that some of the burden should also be on Congress and others, because there are so many problems in the labor market and particular groups. We've talked a lot about African Americans and the problems they face. They're not. The Fed, of course, has a role to play, but job training, educational programs, programs that address other barriers in the labor market, I think this is Congress's job to address. Productivity growth is very low. I think Congress has always had a role in supporting basic research, making sure that the infrastructure of our country is adequate, and, you know, putting in place programs that make sure that training and education are widely available.
All right, let me move to a soft spot that I think exists in the economy, and you and I have talked about it before, and that's on oil and gas, and the fact that the Saudi Arabians are pumping like crazy into what appears to be an oversupplied market, causing the price to drop a lot. which in some ways is very good for all of us because it saves us 10, 15, 20 bucks a week or a month in our price at the pump. But it also is causing some job losses in the manufacturing sectors, the oil and gas, obviously, transportation. Can you comment on what the Fed is doing or reviewing when it comes to oil and gas production?
So we're taking account, as you said, of the fact that the energy sector is very hard hit. We're losing jobs there, but with respect to employment, although there really are very severe losses, it's a pretty small sector of the workforce overall. We're seeing massive cutbacks in drilling activity, and that's rippling through to manufacturing generally, where output is depressed. So it is having negative consequences. On the other hand, if you look at the difference in oil prices now relative to 2014, for the average American household, we're looking at a savings of $1,000 a year. And that's boosting consumer spending. And we've got these two, a negative force, positive forces. We're trying to factor all of that in as
The time of the gentleman has expired. The chair now recognizes